Good afternoon, all. Welcome to the session 2, panel A of the International Research Symposium 2022, organized by the Department of Sociology, Faculty of Arts, University of Colombo. The topic of this panel is employment, retirement, uncertainty. Each presenter has 20 minutes to present their paper. We will notify you at 5 minutes and 2 minutes. This panel is chaired by Professor Gamila Samrasinghe. Professor Samrasinghe is a senior lecturer in sociology at Department of Sociology, Faculty of Arts. And I invite Professor Gamila to chair the session now.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me?
Sure, madam, we can hear you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so welcome to this panel on, as Darshi said. So you have 20 minutes, as she said, right? And the title of the panel is Employment, Retirement, and Uncertainty. Without spending more time, I will call upon Ms. R. Maureen. The title of her paper is Challenges of Household Self-Employed Women in Continuing Their Self-Employment, with special reference to Marvanell. You can start now. Excuse me. Click. Oh, good.
Hello.
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 Hello. You can start.
Challenges of household self-employed employment with special in this modern era, women play an important role in production. They engage in various jobs as paid workers, government workers, self-employers. Among these various jobs, women self-employment is considered as an important way of and today women's participation in earning is needed. So only men cannot run the family. Therefore, women also engage in production work. And the shows that women
Excuse me,
employed females in Sri Lanka
the sound is not very good.
43.86%. Missing. Now, okay, madam?
Yes, better, much better. Do you mind starting again, because we couldn't hear the beginning.
Okay.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
Sorry, madam. I'm sorry. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to present at International Research Symposium 2020. Today, I would like to present about the challenges of household self-employed women in continuing their self-employment with special reference to Mavanella. In this modern erection, they engage in various jobs as paid workers, government workers, self-employers. Among these various jobs, self-employment is considered as an important way of earning for women, because only the men cannot run the family. Therefore, women also engage. Reports that shows women's participation in the jobs or the self-employment is high. According to the World Bank report in 2020, self-employed females in Sri Lanka were reported at 43.86% in the percentage of employed women. So according to the Oxford Dictionary, a self-employed individual does not work for a specific employers who pay them a consistent salary or wage. Self-employed individuals, they are independent contractors, earn income by contract with the trade or business directly. Through this definition, we can understand self-employers are not work under anyone. They just product they sell, they get the profit. And the reality is they are the real boss of their own employment. So as we know about the COVID-19 situation and its influences, it makes many challenges for these self-employed women. In this study, we attempt to explore these women's grievance challenges with special reference with Mavanella. If you go to the research objectives and the question, the major objective is to explore and analyze the challenges faced by self-employed women in their self-employment during COVID-19 pandemic in Mavanella. The specific objective is to understand economic challenges faced by self-employed women and explore the negative consequence toward them during the COVID-19 crisis. The research question, how COVID-19 situation creates economic challenges of self-employed women, and what are the prevailing mechanisms to overcome the self-employed women's problems during COVID-19. So the research area is Hingulla city, located in Kegala district, Sabaragama province, Sri Lanka. And there is a study conducted in the Hingulla GN division using 50 questionnaire surveys and 10 interview methods who were selected through the snowball sampling technique. And the study found 8 self-employed women through the files of Gramaneladari, Hingulla GN division. By using snowball sampling, the study found other samples. It selected 10 samples by representing all categories of self-employment for the research. And these are the types of self-employment and the number of women who engage in self-employment. Next, we go to the findings. So the study found that 70% of self-employed women's monthly family income is below 10,000. And if you go through their socio-economic condition, most of them are majority of them are widowed, divorced, and separated. Through this, we can understand their socio and the economic condition push these women to involve in self-employment. And next, we go to the challenges of these women. To run any sort of self-employment, people need raw materials. So during the COVID-19 period, lockdown and the traveling restrictions are high. and these women couldn't able to travel to get the raw materials. For instance, sweet makers and the sorted makers, they and the dress sellers did not get the basic resource to run their work. And the most of them are using public transport, so they are vulnerable in that side also, because during the COVID-19 situation, traveling in a public transport is very much dangerous. And these women are not doing as self-employed. They are not owners of the shops or the big showrooms. So they go house by house to sell their product. Only few of them, especially sorted makers and sweet makers, they sell their product to the hotels directly. Even they also not get the opportunity to sell their product. And also, if we consider about the women who directly sell their products to house, are not getting any chance. People, public people, though it's because of their fear on this produce the product produce, but they couldn't sell their product. And for any kind of the jobs, we seek profit. Here, the self-employed women, the self-employment is the one and only way to earn. When people did not buy any things, when these women fail to sell their product, they do not get any profit. For example, during this COVID-19 pandemic, sorted makers, they faced many challenges because day by day they reduce the quantity of the product, but finally and they stopped to give up the self-employment because they couldn't able to sell their product. Again, the increase of the price also made huge influence because they could get the profit. They buy basic things for a high rate, but still the production they sell as usual price, though so they didn't get any profit. And these women generate a small amount of income through their self-employment. Especially independent women are depend on their income to fulfill their household needs. Majority of the people paid through the installment method and the credit method. It is more flexible for the buyers, but it is a real challenge to these women. Most of the people they manage their home expenditure through this income. So in other case, the quantity of the product also based on the profit that they received yesterday. Especially the dress vendors, they sell the dress during the festival time and get the money after 6 months or 1 year period later. So even the tailors, they did not get the money on time. So it makes huge challenge to these women. And heavy loan, so when they did not get the profit or the money, they lent money from another person to get raw material and to run their self-employment. These women do not have a big savings. They invest only what they gain from the yesterday. So they mention the people who get for the credit, like Denang case, referring customers who get service and buy product for the credit. And we can conclude as socio-economic background push these women to involve in a self-employment. It is one and only way to earn for these women. And during COVID-19 situation, they face many challenges. All negative impacts upon these employed women makes barriers to build better socio-economic conditions. Their self-employment is still not improved, and these challenges make self-employed women as self-employers for a long time period. So we can recommend the relevant authorities should create a suitable environment to these women, and it recommends introducing loan scheme with a lower interest rate. And you policies and system to continue. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maureen, for your presentation. Thank you for sticking to the time, even finishing in advance. This is an extremely interesting presentation because I don't think anyone has done any research on this. I think this presentation really focused on the challenges that women in some self-employment have faced during COVID. I think,
Yes, madam.
yeah, I think I have a few questions to ask you, but I will keep them for the end of all the presentations, right? So
Okay, madam.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to the second presentation, which is by PKU Pereira from Rajarata University. And the title of the paper is Social and Economic Impacts of Tourism in Pinnavala area. So it's over to you.
Okay, am I audible for you?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. Thank you very much for inviting me for giving this opportunity for presenting my abstract on the topic social and economic impacts of tourism in Pinnavala area. So in my presentation, first of all, I will give you a brief introduction to this abstract. In the abstract, the tourism is one of the leading industries in the global economy, and in Sri Lanka, tourism is the third largest contributor to the gross domestic production in the economy. According to the Sri Lankan Tourism Development Authority, in 2020, tourist arrivals to the Sri Lanka is totaled. The number is 507. 1,704 with a decline of 73.5% since 2019. The unprecedented health crisis caused by the COVID-19 pandemic caused a heavy blow to the industry to almost to a halt. But in the previous year, irrespective of these pandemic and tragic situations, the tourism industry of the country continued to grow year by year. And according to the various scholars, tourism impacts not only for the economic sector, but also to the various other sectors such as environmental, social, and cultural also. Tourism is not only impacts the society and economy in a positive way, but also in negative ways also. According to the literatures found, it is observed that the community in a tourism destination is very crucial factor for the satisfaction of tourists, and they are very sensitive to the fluctuations of the tourism development. And so considering that it is identified that there is a need of identifying the real impacts of tourism on the host community at a destination. So for conducting such a study, it is important to select a popular tourism destination for gathering the required data. The popularity of such destination can be decided based on the number of tourists travel to that location, the number of attractions available, and the amount of tourist receipts earned from that attractions. Based on those factors, the researchers selected Pinnavala area for the research as the research site. Then introducing my problem statement, as a major tourism destination, Pinnavala area experiences with many positive and negative impacts in the current socio and economic phenomena. Pinnavala has two major tourism sites. They are very major ones, and there are, other than these two, they are Pinnavala Elephant Orphanage and Pinnavala Open Zoo. The thousands of domestic and foreign tourists are annually visit the area, and huge income is generated around the area. Not only that, many of tourism-related projects are being conducted on this area, which they may be infrastructure development projects or projects related to promoting the tourism area, tourism in this area. Then tourism activities and development projects are causing both positive and negative impacts on community in the area in social and economic context. Therefore, this study focused on exploring how these tourism-related activities influence both change the domestic, social, and economic situation. Ultimately, this research study developed its problem statement as what are the major socio-economic impacts of tourism in Penal area. For the ease of conducting this research, I have developed the research questions as what are the major socio-economic impacts of tourism in the Penal area, what is the current situation of the tourism development in the area, and what is the community perception on tourism development in the Penal area, and also how to identify tourism development on community of Penal area. Then after parallel to my questions, the research objectives are as follows: to identify the major socio-economic impacts of tourism, to identify current situation of tourism in the Penal area, to identify community perception on tourism development in Penal area, and to identify the contribution of community on tourism development in the Penal area. Then going to my literature review, in here I have shown the tourism highlights in Sri Lanka, mostly in the year 2020. According to the definition given by the World Tourism Organization, tourism comprises the activities of persons traveling to and staying places other than usual environment for not more than one consecutive year for leisure, business, and other purposes not related to exercise of an activity remunerated from within the place visited. The total tourists to Sri Lanka amounted 507,704 in 2020, with a decline of 73.5% since 2019. Number of nights spent in 2020 by international tourists was 4,315,484, with a decline of 78.3% since 2019, and the average duration of stay is 8.5 nights. The tourist receipts for 2020 were estimated rupees 189 million as compared to rupees 646,362 million in 2019, with a decline of 80.8%. The per capita tourist receipts per day amounted to US dollars 158.1, showing a decrease of 12.7% compared to 181 US dollars in 2019. Tourism highlights in Kagol: number of rooms available in the district of Kagol are 365, and the rate of room occupancy in the district Kagol in the year 2020 is 9.1%. Foreign guest nights spent in graded tourist accommodations in Kagol district in the year 2020 are 101,304. Then 309 guest nights have been spent in the month of February in Kagol, which it is the highest, and 15 sold in the month of April, which it is the lowest recorded in 2020. The revenue earned in the year 2020 by Pinnavala Elephant Orphanage is 113,687,330, which it was earned by 174,540 tourists. The revenue earned in the year 2020 by Pinnavala Pinnavala Open Zoo is rupees 9,168,700, which it was earned by 94,991 tourists. Then let's discuss about the tourism impacts by the literature. As studied by many scholars, there are many types of tourism impacts, such as social, cultural, economic, political, and environmental. Among these impacts, social and economical impacts are the most common. Economic impacts may include generation of employment opportunities, generation of entrepreneurial opportunities, generation of tax revenues, rural development, generation of foreign exchange, promotion of ancillary services industries. Then socio-cultural impacts may include impacts on the demographic dimensions, occupational impacts, impacts on social cultural dimensions, transformation of norms, modification of consumption patterns. Then introduction to my research methodology. In here, I have shown you how my methodology was going on. I adopted the mixed method methodology, and the study area I selected is Pinnavala, basically Jodagama village, Pinnavala Open Zoo, and Pinnavala Elephant Orphanage. The population of this research study is residents of the Pinnavala area, and the sampling technique I adopted is convenient sampling technique, and sample size is 100. And the data collected from using questionnaires and semi-structured questionnaires from 90 respondents and 10 respondents for the interviews. Then the data analyzed. Questionnaires were analyzed with the descriptive data analysis, and the interviews were analyzed with the content analysis. Then moving to the results and discussion. Residents' idea about the Pinnuvalla area, according to the analyzed data, 5.65% of the respondents are having a negative idea about the Pinnuvalla area, while 71.55% of the respondents are neither having positive about neither positive about the Pinnuvalla area. In addition, 22.8 of the respondents have neither positive nor negative idea about the Pinnuvalla area. And their ideas are given based on the following factors, which they are: scenic beauty of the area, weather conditions of the area, effectiveness of the local government, availability of job opportunities, transportation facilities, accommodation facilities, and restaurants, safety of the living. Then the residents' awareness about the tourism development in the area, according to analyzed data, 85.6% of the respondents are aware about the tourism development in the area, while 14.6% of the respondents are not aware about the tourism development in the area. Residents' perception about the ways of income generation, according to the analyzed data, 86.7% of the respondents say that the major income generator of the area is tourism industry, while 13.3% of the respondents say that tourism industry is not the major income generator of the area. Then reasons for the arrivals of the tourist to the area, according to the respondents, these are the reasons for the arrival of tourists to the area. They are availability of world famous elephant orphanage, ease of access, Pinnuvalla elephant in the theme park, availability of closed railway station, and the availability of the open zoo. And when discussing about the residents' perception about the effect of tourism development on the economy, according to the analyzed data, 9% of the respondents accept that there is an effect of tourism development on the economy, while 10% of them say that there is no effect on the area. Then employment of the community, according to data analysis, 68% of the respondents are engaging in the tourism related employments, while the rest 32 of the respondents do not engage in tourism related employments. In addition, according to the data analysis, the following are the occupations of the respondents who directly involved in tourism related employments. They are hotels, guest houses, restaurants, tour operators, travel guides, and tourist gift shops. Then on the other hand, following are the occupations of the respondents who engage in indirect tourism related employments. Those are transport services, shop assistants, and ancillary service providers. Then about the skill development community, according to the analysis, the data is revealed that 54.4% of the respondents have increased their language skills, communication skills, and technological skills through tourism, while 10.4% of the respondents say that they have not developed their language, communication, and technical skills through the tourism. Then discussing about the infrastructure development in the area, according to the analyzed data, 41.42% of the respondents say that there are proper infrastructure facilities available in the area which they are developed to the tourism development, while rest 9.5% of the respondents do not agree with it, and in addition 28.44% of the respondents are neither agree nor disagree with it. These infrastructure facilities include transport facilities, electricity facilities, communication facilities, sanitary facilities, and other facilities. When social and economic impacts identified through the interviews, when discussing them, according to the analysis data gathered by the interviews, the following positive and negative impacts are identified with relevant to the tourism industry in the area. Positive impacts include majority of the residents in the area are depend on the tourism industry. Most of the residents in the area are engaging in tourism related employments in the area. The tourism industry in the area causes in reduction of poverty in the area. The residents who are engaging in the tourism related occupations have developed their language skills, communication skills, and technical skills by their occupations. The community can generate higher income by engaging in the tourism industry than engaging in other industries. Then negative impacts include rivalry among the businesses, improper use of funds by the residents, alcohol and drug addiction, increase of vehicle traffic and accidents, diminishing host community cultural and traditional practices, and the prostitution. Then conclusion and the recommendations. According to this research, my conclusions are: by this research, the researcher has able to find the following key facts about the tourism industry in Pinnuvalla area, and the following social and economic impacts tourism in the area were found. Tourism industry in the Pinnuvalla is highly popular, and the area is one of the major tourism destination in the current country. Not only that, the major tourism attraction of the area is Pinnuvalla Elephant Orphanage, and it has its unique popularity around the world. When discussing about the social and economic impacts of the tourism industry on the area, it can be concluded that there are many positive impacts than the negative impacts. Further, the community of the area are highly dependent on the tourism industry. Then, based on my conclusions, the recommendations are government must intervene in regulating the price levels of the goods and services offered in the area, promotion of adventure tourism in the cultural activities in the area, government intervention in standardizing the restaurants and hotels must be enhanced, awareness programs must be organized for the school students and residents, establishing language centers, information centers, hotel schools, and other type of human capital development centers must be done. So that is the end of my presentation. Thank you for giving your consideration on my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pereira, for your presentation on the social and economic impacts of tourism in the Pinnawala area. We will move on to the next presentation. The next presentation is by W.S.N. Sirivardhana from Rajarata University. And the presentation is on aging and retirement, the negative experiences of post-retirement.
We will make questions and decision.
You can start.
Madam, I'm looking for a sharing option.
Yes, Susit, welcome. Okay, you can start.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Susit Sirivardhana, representing Rajarata University of Sri Lanka, Mintale. And today my topic is aging and retirement, the negative experiences of post-retirement. So I would like to go into my presentation, and I'm about to follow the introduction, methodology, rationale, findings, the conclusion, and the regret. So let me move into my introduction. Aging is a biological process associated with human life, and it is very natural process. So when we move into the sociological definition of the retirement, it is kind of a social process or a social incident that happens with the people who engaged with occupations and sometimes the blue collar jobs. So over time, the person ages and the person cannot avoid adapting to this stage of life. That is, everyone has to accept the various opportunities and challenges they face in relation to old age. The study focuses on understanding the relationship between the negative experiences of post-retirement life and post-retirement plan. Identifying the negative aspects of post-retirement experiences and recognizing the importance of managing post-retirement life were the main objective of this study. Currently, retirees have an impact of a full retirement of about 2 decades. The socio-economic and cultural changes and challenges that arise through this for retirees and those providing services to retired are varied. Grubb and Weiss in 1999 stated that many previous studies investigating the effects of retirement on mental and physical health have yielded conflicting results. Among the data analysis are the methodological limitations of retrospective study plans and the inability to distinguish between the effects of old age and retirement. Furthermore, they do not have adequate comparative groups, valid measurements of mental and physical health, repeated measurements of changes in individual health, and socio-economic status, as well as a lack of consideration of the effect on basic health. The Bose and the guys in 1977, Bose et al. Mentioned that in addition, there are several other key factors that make it clear through studies that the experiences of favorable or unfavorable living conditions and retirement may vary depending on employment characteristic as well as socioeconomic and martial status before retirement. And also, in the previous studies, when we go into the literature, we in the previous studies have also found that the effect of retirement on changes in both mental and physical health has not been satisfactorily investigated. Accordingly, this research paper is primarily intended to understand the nature of the negative experiences associated with the post-retirement life of working people in a global context within a social framework. The methodology. In the methodology, since this study is primarily aimed at examining the negative consequences of the retirement transitions in the Sri Lankan context, the literature is based on research findings in the field of the post-retirement life. To collect private data, respondents of 40 were selected under non-random purposive sampling, and the study used 20 similar respondents, each based on gender, 20 from male and 20 from female. And the data was collected using semi-structured reviews, and in the findings and discussions, the data were discussed under the thematic solution. So I would like to move into the basic findings. The negative impact on post-retirement life predominant. For example, major negative effects of retirement transition includes job loss, decline in income and having recognized life activities, social isolation, and changes in an individual's social acceptance. Dissatisfaction in retirement is due to factors such as low income, low self-esteem, and poor planning or lack of pre-planning are the main causes of these negative consequences. So, in here, I would like to move into why these things become negative consequences. Because when we were moving into the negative impact, we all know that people love to have a good retirement life. People always like to have a good retirement life because that is why from the ages they are trying to have and they are trying to develop through their working life. The question is, in Sri Lanka especially, we are not having a pre-planning or our plannings are poor for the retirement life. So the post-retirement life becomes a negative experience because of the lack of planning in the pre-retirement life. So the gender impact towards post-retirement planning was identified in the findings, reveals that post-retirement planning is much advanced among women than men. When women are moving into the retirement life, they have such a quite nice plan. Many of them, most of the participants mentions that they are following, they have followed a post-retirement plan from the pension plans, and also some of them have intended with the insurance plans and the earning plans, and also some investments just like that. The study emphasizes that the main reason for the difficulty in adapting to retirement life is not planning adequately for post-retirement life before retirement. So I'm moving to some major themes of my find. The socio-economic problems faced by the retirees. The first thing, the isolation and the labelization. Many of the retired people were known as they have to be under someone's care under someone's careness or protection. But the thing is, as mentioned by the retirees, they are not demanding that. They are not able, they are not willing to have that protection, overprotection or over caring. As they were engaged with a great workload, and sometimes they were holding a great occupations, a sound occupation, and they were engaged with a sound salary. And now when they were become overprotective or over caring, they are not allowing them. And another thing, there isn't any kind of plan, a productive plan to share the experience to or gain the experience from the retirees in Sri Lanka. Many of experienced people are still complaining about the social processes, how the government works, and how the people engaged with the work and their plannings, decision making things. Because of their experience, they know what is the best thing. The problem is we are not having such a plan to gain their knowledge. And the problems that the retirees faced in home life, the overprotective and overcareness is also there. And in another matter, the loneliness. Many of them have mentioned, many of the respondents have mentioned that loneliness is the major problem while they were in the home. Because the people in the home may be engaged with their work, their children are in the workplaces, and there is no kind of time, enough time to share their ideas or do an activity. So most of them are keeping their time in front of the television or reading newspapers, just like that. And also the mental and physical stresses faced by the retirees. Especially after the retirement, many of them become and stressed because of the loneliness and non-communicatable environment. They need communication with each other, they need interactions. But the thing is, with this busy life, in this rat race, they have no such a time to compare their ideas, express their ideas, share their love or anything. And also the psychological problems faced by the retirees and the gender differences. When it comes to the family, many of the retirees has mentioned that sometimes they are children also, sometimes the caring people, the helpers of them are not that interested to work and get engaged with them. That's an issue. And also, the thing is, because of being a woman, sometimes the retiree can be a grandmother, then she has to work for the grandchildren. As they mentioned, it is a pleasure sometimes, but sometimes it becomes an overload of work because they need rest in this time. And the factors influencing adaptation to post-retirement life. The post-retirement life sometimes happens forcefully. The retirement sometimes become forcefully because of the government decisions or sometimes the company decisions. So those are some kind of things that majorly identified through the research. And I would like to move into the discussion. So the retirement is a very valuable time in a person's life that provides various opportunities related to leisure time for well-being. We all need that well-being because over our lifetime, we are looking for this well-being. For someone who has spent a lot of time physically and mentally with the responsibilities of a job is one of the most important contributors to the physical and mental well-being of everyone. Therefore, retiring from a job can be considered as a creative life experience. Retirement can also help maintain emotional health, especially in a situation where a job can be stressful and frustrating for a person. But for a person who does not have satisfactory economic security, the economic security and good physical and mental health, a satisfying retirement life is more likely to be unrealistic. One of the main aspirations for the future of the lives of employees is to have a very happy and successful retirement after leaving the workplace. That is, they hope to have more time to relax with friends and family after retirement. But there are a lot of problems that a person faces after retirement. The main ones are decline in income, having to recognize life activities, social isolation, and so on. Therefore, retirement can be considered as a crucial moment in one's life. There are two phases in retirement. Retirement greatly diminishes a person's social acceptance and dignity, and also diminishes high role in the family and society. This means that many changes start to take place in one's life with retirement. In this way, retirees face a number of expected and unforeseen problems in their post-retirement life as their roles become unclear with age. Because all we got some different roles in life with the retirement. Then is a very special turning point in personal life, the retirement that requires adaptation. Retirement can be a stressful event for the retiree, but for some it can have positive consequences associated with the retirement transitions. But in comparison, the negative post-retirement experience is even more powerful according to the study. So, the lack of early retirement management is one of the main reasons for the problems associated with the post-retirement life with respect to retirees. This means that it's essential to prepare well in advance for a more satisfying post-retirement life. Accordingly, one can expect a more physically and mentally more satisfying post-retirement life by focusing on future economic security, post-retirement activities, leisure activities, healthy living habits, etc. in advanced retirement. Accordingly, it can be concluded that there is a direct relationship between the negative conditions associated with post-retirement life and the lack of pre-retirement management. So in conclusion, it is revealed that there is a direct relationship between the negative conditions associated with post-retirement life and the lack of pre-retirement management. These are my references that I have followed to engage with this research. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Susit. For someone who is who's soon to be a retiree, I think I will take some of your advice. And but I have a number of questions for you after I will once
Sure.
we listen to the next presentation, which is by HASU Gitanjali from University of Colombo. She's going to, the title of the presentation is New Paradigm Shifting of Sex Workers in Urban Slums of the University of the Colombo district during the COVID-19 pandemic. Over to you.
Am I audible, madam?
Yes, but if you can speak a little louder, that would be good.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Sachini Umasha Geetanjali from Department of Political Science and Public Policy, University of Colombo. Today, I would like to discuss about the new paradigm shifting of sex workers during the COVID-19 pandemic as a case study of urban slums in Colombo district. With the spread of COVID-19 contagious virus in the world, most of job fields were become vulnerable. We can identify same situation in Sri Lanka. So this is my content slide. Firstly, I would like to discuss research background, then objectives, third methods and methodology. After that, research finding, in order, conclusion, and finally, I would like to present my references. Then we will move to the research background. Since December 2019, the COVID-19 pandemic has spread out of China to a growing number of countries, becoming one of the hardest hit by the virus. With the COVID-19 in the urban environment of the Colombo district, it was possible to identify sex workers in the slums were become vulnerable and maintaining living conditions were hard in the slum environment. When we observe the society, we could identify that this situation mostly affected for the blue collar jobs rather than the white collar jobs, which were easily replaceable. Then we move to the objectives. The main objective of the research is to identify challenges to sex workers, economic, mental, social, and healthcare well-being of sex workers, and investigate new paradigm shift between sex workers and clients. The main research problem is how did the sex workers in the urban slums of Colombo district live, build their standard of living, and manage their clients with the pandemic? As you all know, these sex workers live their life with daily incomes earned from their daily clients with the pandemic. Then discuss about the methods and methodology. The main research sample based on the Isuru Pedesan Havelock Town urban slums of 30 sex workers in the age category 18 to 45, and the sample was randomly selected. Data collection, I used semi-structured interviews, for example, open-ended questions and in-depth interviews, discussions, and observations. And also, resource theory and neoliberalism theory utilized for analyzing the data. Then we will discuss about the research findings. As research findings, the most sex workers' daily incomes earned from their daily clients with the pandemic. The situation became upside down for them. So it was very hard for them to maintain their standard living with the lots of their income. And also, I directly contacted the 5 sex workers, and other details were collected from discussions and observations with their neighbors. These sex workers in the public space are able to find their clients. Among them, younger pretty ladies were hooking up with the sugar daddies. This pie chart represents negative impact attached to the sex workers during the COVID-19 pandemic. The main issue they faced in the pandemic period in travel restrictions, because they missed their regular and other random or daily customers during the pandemic period. Then, according to the pie chart, it shows married or unmarried status of the sex workers. Among them, 67% of married. When considering the economic status of their husbands, vast majority depend on their views. Only 17% of them were employed. So, due to this employment of their husbands and lots of their daily income with the pandemic led them to face domestic violence and also economic hardships and maintain their face various social problems and mental issues. So you can see this graph and various economic problems and social issues, domestic violence, and also mental issues and health problems these sex workers face in during the COVID-19 pandemic. For instance, they were suspected as COVID spreaders and rejected from every space in hospitals, neighbors. Other than that, most women represent the rural society. So they didn't move to their villages. Then we move to the conclusion. When considering the neoliberalism economic model, women are no longer structured from a traditional point of view and that they are subjected to excessive mental and physical hardship due to the pandemic. Furthermore, the pandemic has made sex workers vulnerable and many women have been subjected to sexual harassment when resorting to the other occupation. So this is my reference slide and if you have any questions, I would like to answer them and thank you very much for giving me this valuable opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Gitanjali. Okay, now, I mean, we had 4 very interesting presentations at this panel titled Employment, Retirement and Uncertainty. The floor is now open for comments or questions by the participants. Does anyone have a question or a comment to any of the presenters? No one? Okay, so then I will take the opportunity, since I'm the chair of this panel, to start with the question to Ms. Maureen. I was just wondering, while listening to you, when you spoke about self-employment.
Excuse me, madam.
Yes.
Maureen has left
Maureen.
because of her exams.
Okay, okay. Sorry, I didn't notice. Okay, so then I will move on to second paper, which is by Mr. Pereira. So you said that you sort of shared the what people in Pinnavalla thought about the social and economic impacts of tourism in Pinnavalla, right? I was wondering whether there was whether you could find out from your conversations with these people, whether what they thought about tourism in general in Pinnavalla even before COVID. Were they happy with the fact that it became sort of like a very busy kind of place where, you know, there were people and lots of things happening even before COVID? Was there any difference of their perceptions before and during COVID? Is he left also? No, he's there, no? What's happened to him? Then I'll move on to Susit. Susit, in your title, you already say that the experiences of post-retirement are negative, right? Your title says the negative experience of post-retirement. I find that that is kind of like leading, and so that the reader already expects you to list out all the negative effects of or experiences of post retirement. Did you think about the title? Did you decide to have the word negative in the title for a particular reason?
Yeah, madam. Through the past decade, I discovered the literature that came through the retirement experiences and the impact of the retirement toward the retirees. Then I found out that through the literature, many of the researchers had pointed out there are negative impacts more than the positive impacts of the retirement. There are, or in the conclusion I made that there are negative factors, and I wanted to find out why the retirement become a negative experience for the retirees. And that is why the conclusion I made that it is because of the lack of or not having a pre-retirement plan.
Plan. Also, I found that I had questions like when you were talking about working people, right?
Yeah,
In your sample, it is not clear what is the type of work that these people were engaged in, and whether, depending on the type of work that they were engaging, maybe their experiences of retirement might be different. So can you tell me a little bit more about this sample and what is the type of work?
There is a kind of limitation because I interviewed the participants of the research were the government servants. So
okay,
it's a kind of limitation in that.
Right. Yes, so that is something to mention, I think, when you are doing, if you are presenting again this paper at some point, is to mention that they were all government servants that you interviewed, right?
Yeah.
And also maybe the age group, because retirement plans, people may be not thinking about them when they are sort of mid-career workers. Maybe it's when they're closer, when they reach their 50s or so, that they start at least thinking a little bit about what they might want to do, right?
Okay.
Also, there are also people who may be looking forward to a retirement if they have had negative experiences at their workplace. Some people might be counting, gosh, I have 2 years left, I'm waiting to get out of this place.
Yeah.
And especially in government institutions, it's possible that they are doing it just to get the regular salary, the security that they get from doing this kind of job, and that it's actually not interesting, and they are waiting to get out and to do something that they might be more interested in doing, right?
Yeah.
So those are sort of nuances, I think, that you could add to your work.
Yeah.
Also, another thing that maybe you do have this information, but you did not mention it, is that, about your sample, the sample, how this sample was selected, as I said earlier, what age,
Yeah.
are these people when you ask them these questions, but also they are from where they come, like, for example, if there are people who come from a village and who are settled down in Colombo or wherever you did this, and if they go back and they get involved, say in farming or something, right? It is not that their income will be their income. They might get a pension. Some people, since these are all government servants, they might get a pension. But if you had done it if you had talked to other people engaged in work, they might not even get a pension. And depending on the type of life they would lead post-retirement, there might be either negative or a positive experience that might be shared, right? So I think it is important that you look further into or think of other factors that might affect this negative, this sharing of a negative experience, this negative attitude towards retirement, because I think there might also be some positive ones, right? More positive ones that you might think. So these are my comments, Susit.
Yeah, sure. I will add them and develop my research according to your opinions.
Oh,
Thank
no,
you.
no, you can also not agree with my opinion.
No, no, no.
Fine. That is also fine.
It's quite fine.
Just
Thank you for your comments and ideas, as always you've done for years.
any other people would like to react to Susit's paper? No, I will get back then to
Excuse me, madam.
yes.
Pratham was disconnected, but now he is in here.
Yes, I saw that. So I can then ask him a question that I had thought I need some clarification. You are back, right?
Yeah, I'm back.
No, I just wanted to find out, you got ideas on Pinnavalla that is during COVID, the social and economic impacts of tourism in Pinnavalla.
Yes.
Just wondering whether, before COVID, what was the, did you manage to gauge what people thought about, Pinnavalla becoming a tourist area?
Yeah.
Were they sort of happy with this idea, or did they feel that their life was getting completely changed and
Changed, yeah. Actually, because of it depends on their education levels. Because I mean, when considering with the tourism destination as Pinnavalla, which there is mass tourism activities are going on. When sudden crisis is there, it may be the tourism industry may be downfall. But as a destination is subject to the mass tourism activities, it will be recovered so soon. And the COVID-19 pandemic is not only for the Sri Lanka or not only specific for a destination like Pinnavalla, it's all around the world. The impacts are there. So when the industries or the world is soon after getting rid of this COVID-19 pandemic and those kind of situations, the tourism industry will be get back to normal. But the people in the area, they got that they have the idea that they don't have any idea how they are going to recover from this situation, and they were they got very negative ideas about the industry. Some people who is operating restaurants and tour operators, they left their jobs. They shifted for another kinds of jobs instead of engaging in the tourism related activities. But soon after, I think soon after the recovery of the COVID-19 pandemic, the situation will get back to normal, because this is a place where the mass tourism activities are going on, and the attraction is very high for the tourism industry.
Yes, are they hopeful?
Yeah, they got the hopes. They were hopeful, but some people they got, because the in the TV and the newspapers, the news was so bad in those times. So some people, they got no idea about they were hopeless. But some people, they have good hope in their minds.
And how did they survive during this period of time without an income?
Actually, from the SLTDA, who's registered with the SLTDA, they got some funds from the SLTDA, and they got the exemptions for their registration fees and so on. So they managed, and sometimes they shifted to another jobs and another employments for a shorter period of time, not for a longer period of time, for a shorter period of time until the industry is recovering. They shifted their jobs, but soon after the industry is back to normal, they will be back for their previous employments.
Thank you for the clarification. I have just one more question. It's for the last presenter, Ms. Gitanjali.
Yeah, madam. I am.
Yes, can you please share with me your last slide, the conclusions? Because I couldn't write down what I wanted to ask. Just want to. Did you hear me? Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Madam, give me 1 second.
Okay.
How is this digitalization? I just want to ask one.
It's your conclusion, please. Yes, so I was just the second point. You said that the pandemic has made sex workers vulnerable due to the pandemic. They have become more vulnerable due to the pandemic, and many women have been subjected to sexual harassment and resorting to other occupations. What are the types of occupations they have engaged in, and why do you think that they might be more subjected to sexual harassment?
Yeah, madam. Thank you. Actually, they move to various occupations, ma'am. For example, cleaning jobs and garments and other various jobs. For example, they maintain with they maintain with their families with their side. For example, most of their husbands based on most of their husbands depend on their views.
Yes.
So in the COVID-19 pandemic, they vulnerable and they move to cleaning jobs and garment etc. So other than that, I found that when moving to these jobs, they did their previous jobs. For example, when considering some women moved to cleaning job, then they connected and they chose their client. So I think my final point depend on these arguments, ma'am.
Yeah. Not sure I heard you properly, but they so
Yeah, madam. I can add something.
Yes,
I
go
would
ahead.
like to say they are both find out about their past history. For example,
okay.
they trying to get advantages from it.
I see.
So yeah,
So, but during the pandemic now, they were affected. They couldn't do their work, right? Or they managed to do it to some extent. And then during the pandemic, they had to stay at home, right? They couldn't have got other employment.
yeah,
anywhere else.
yeah.
And as your table showed, like 70 or 80% of their husbands just depend on them for the money that they earn.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they were
Actually, madam, they face domestic violence due to economic problems because some of their husbands addict to drugs. So then these pressure and these domestic violence and these situations face to women, and they got mental issues and health problems, not only economic and health problems, but also mental issues.
Were they willing to talk to you easily? There was no problem.
Yeah, madam. I directly contacted 5 sex workers. Then some of them only, but they actually they didn't like to all the ideas share with me. But I could friendly with their friendly and connected with their ideas because my these places near with my boarding place. So this opportunity for to get my data and share with my ideas, and they I think it was very helpful for me.
Okay, and the first sex workers you found, you just approached them and they agreed to talk to you, or you knew someone who knew them, or how did that happen?
Yeah, madam. Some of them some of them like to talk me, and they actually in some firstly I observe, then I utilize for observations, then in every time I didn't to tell this way this is my research, so I I expected to do research. I normally I connected, and normally I built up with normal conversation. So I think then they share with their ideas and their difficulties, etc. Other than that, my boarding place auntie and uncle, they know what are the situations they are, and this so every time what are the changes and they face difficulties. So I could get some data and information with these methods.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. That's quite a challenging research and very important work, because to find out more about the challenges these women have had during these difficult times, right? So, does anyone have do any of the participants want to ask any questions from the presenters? No one? If there are no questions, we can actually end 5 minutes early, since you kept to time, which is very good. So I'd like to thank the 4 presenters for very interesting work that they're doing at the moment. I think COVID has really affected many people from many spheres, and there's a lot of work to be done to understand the kinds of challenges they have to face, and for how long we don't know. These difficulties will be there for them. So thank you very much, all of you, for your presentation, and I wish you all the very best in continuing this kind of work. So I will close session now, and we shall meet sometime, hopefully. Over to you, Darshni.
Okay. I think we came at the end of the session now. Thank you very much, Professor Gamila Samarasim, for sharing the session today. We hope that all of you had a very insightful session. Thank you all for participating today, and thank you. Have a nice day.